So last week, as I'm sure everybody's aware by now, we had a federal judge out of the state of Texas actually ban a drug that has been on the market for over 20 years. And that, of course, is an abortion drug that is one of the more common ways of inducing an abortion. And a judge in Texas just decided, you know what? Even though this thing has FDA approval, even though it's been on the market for 20 years, screw it. I'm just going to say it can't exist anymore. Now, then we had another federal court ruling that actually undid that ruling, which means we're headed to the Supreme Court where those lunatics, God only knows what they're going to rule on this. But Republicans already have a contingency plan. According to Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez, of course, from Texas, he says that if the FDA does not go along with this plan, or, of course, if, I guess, the Supreme Court doesn't go along with that Texas judge, he says, we'll just defund the FDA. We'll stick it to them. We will enact our political retribution against them because we can't control them any other way. Because that's what it is with Republicans. It's all about control. How can we create this strangle-like grip on the lives of American citizens, on every government agency? We want the tightest possible control so that they only do what we say they can do. That's fascism, by the way. Here's what Tony Gonzalez said during an appearance on one of the Sunday morning talk shows. State of the Union on CNN. It's very dangerous when you have the administration, the Biden administration, coming out and saying they may not uphold a ruling. The House Republicans have the power of the purse, and if the administration wants to not live up to this ruling, then we're going to have a problem. It may come to a point where House Republicans on the appropriation side have to defund FDA programs that don't make sense. So you're not saying that you're going to defund FDA programs for abortion. You have now broadened that scope to things that don't make sense. Now, for Republicans, nothing makes sense. I mean, the FDA deals with science. Republicans deny science. So 100% of what the FDA does doesn't make sense to idiot Republicans like Tony Gonzalez. I'm willing to bet you couldn't tell us about the chemistry of any of these drugs. You couldn't tell us how they work. You couldn't tell us what they do when they get in your body. So to you, for you, they make no sense, which means under your proposal here, you could defund everything, which would mean, of course, we wouldn't have drugs being approved. We wouldn't have drugs being tested for safety. I mean, we wouldn't have food inspections. Because I'm willing to bet that microscopic bacteria and salmonella contamination, that doesn't make sense to you either, does it, Mr. Gonzalez? So anything that doesn't make sense, we can defund. And luckily, Republicans are so effing stupid, nothing makes sense, so they can defund everything. This is political retribution, this is abuse of power, and this is a decision that is going to get people killed. Look, the FDA is dysfunctional enough as it is. Regular viewers of Ring of Fire know we've been talking about that for 20 years. Sorry, getting a little mad. But they also occasionally do catch stuff. They do occasionally get stuff off the market that would kill Americans. And if we take money away from that agency, then everything's going to get the green light because they're not going to have the ability to test. They're going to have to rely on the phonied up studies that the drug companies send them every day. I've seen the studies. I've seen the legal documents. I know how these companies phony stuff up and flat out lie. And if the FDA is defunded to the point where they can't do their own research, they have to rely on industry studies, we're dead. We're dead. And that is not hyperbole. That is not an exaggeration. That is what the drug companies will do to us. But apparently in Tony Gonzalez's mind, that's okay because the FDA does a lot of things that don't make any sense. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.